unpleasant, and what makes it more unpleasant is that there is no way to say this without saying very unpleasant things. Because as a Nigerian who lives in Nigeria and who has lived in Nigeria, I know exactly what it means when you live in a community and a military man is assaulted. I'm not even talking about being killed. And a military man is assaulted, and you know there's going to reprisals. And you know it doesn't matter if you were innocent or guilty. It doesn't matter if you know who was involved in it or who wasn't involved in it. It doesn't matter if you were the good guy or the bad guy. You just don't know when they will be coming back, and you don't know where you will be. And if you have your loved one, including your aged parents, you just don't know who it's going to fall on. Having said that, I would just say what happened in Delta State is unacceptable. Look, by every standard on planet Earth, what happened in Delta State is unacceptable. It's unacceptable on the part of the community. It's unacceptable on the part of the government, because now the government is talking tough. To me, the only party in this conversation who are victims and who are true victims are the Nigerian troops. You see, one would want to trace this as what really happened. How did we get to the point that in Delta State, our troops who were sent on peacekeeping and rescue mission were killed? So these soldiers were actually at the community to rescue the person held hostage, and to have a talk with the community leaders. That talk was unsuccessful. Our soldiers were leaving this community when they came under attack by these youths. A lieutenant colonel, 2 majors, 1 captain, 12 soldiers were killed in peacetime, in what ought to be peacetime on Nigerian soil. So that is what happened. And so the papers today, and since yesterday, have been awash with so many things. We've heard talk about buildings being razed. We've read about people fleeing the communities. We've read about the president talking tough. We've read about the Delta State government. We've read about the Senate. We've read about CSOs, Femi Falana. You know, the list goes on and on about people who have condemned this attack, including ex-military generals. You know, but I read all through all of this, and I'm ashamed at the government. And when I say the government, I mean at all levels. The Nigerian military should not be given this kind of responsibility. What business does the Nigerian military have going into a Delta community to negotiate with leaders? Please, somebody should tell me what in their training, what is it in the training, what is it in the training of a soldier? What is it in the Nigerian constitution? What is it in all of these laws that gives the Nigerian Army the job description to go into a community? These are federal troops. That is what they are. These are federal troops. We're talking about land dispute between 2 communities in a local government. And all of the mechanisms that should deal with this problem have been there. This is something that started since January. So what have all of these mechanisms been doing? What have the community leaders been doing? What have the titled men been doing? What have the elders been doing? What have the PGs been doing? What has the state governor been doing? What have the commissioners been doing? What has the commissioner of land been doing? So all of these mechanisms that should invite these people to the table. We are reading that the military went into the community to talk with the community. For what? What is it in the training of a soldier that makes him a mediator between two communities. These are kinsmen. What is it in the training of a soldier that gives him the responsibility? What is it in his job description that gives him the responsibility to move into our communities and start talking with two stubborn kinsmen? So on that part, the Nigerian government, the government institution has failed this one. I'm saying this because they are now talking tough. You know, it will not go unpunished. In the first place, they failed. The soldiers were there because there was absence of governance. There was absence of governance at the local government level, at Boma, the local government area of Delta State. There was absence of governance at the Delta State, you know, government level. I don't even want to talk about federal, right? I don't want to talk about the federal because when the local government has said that, then the question that somebody should ask me, and the person will be right, is, well, who was supposed to, you know, blow the whistle, or who was supposed to make the call to the federal, whether it is the Ministry of Lands or it is to, right? Because the president shouldn't be bothered. If you look at it, the president shouldn't be bothered with two warring kinsmen, except the governor now comes in, and then it becomes, you know, a subnational matter, and then the federal government can come in, because the papers never reported all this to all of us, all of this world, right? So, these guys have been killed. These soldiers have been killed. Look, anybody in their right minds know what the consequences about this. I'm not aware if I'm in the right, if I'm also in my right mind, so I might not know what the consequences of this are. But this is not the first time we have seen this happen. This is not the first time we have seen this happen. We have seen communal clashes around Nigeria go on for months and months and months. It is happening in Anambra State. It is happening in Kogi State. It is happening in Ebonyi State. Yeah. And there is, it always ends a certain kind of way. People, you know, indigents from both communities, youths take it upon themselves to kidnap, rape, kill, and nothing happens. Yeah. State governors somehow lack the capacity. When they want to take lands belonging to communities for whatever they want to do, the state governors know how to do it. But when it comes to coming in and settling disputes, our state governors don't know what to do. And in all of these communal clashes across the country, what always happens? Federal troops are killed. Policemen are killed. Soldiers are killed. Look, these guys did it in Delta State because it is this is not the first. Right? Yeah. And now, why my heart goes out to these community members? Like I said, the only victims here are the military. They are the only victims. Because they are just the victims. The military here, we are victims of the same bad governance that every Nigerian is victim of. Because they shouldn't have been there in the first place. Right? Yeah. Is during the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo, 1999. Yeah. In Bayelsa. When the president sent, I mean, still having the same kind of problems in the Niger Delta. You know, we've always had those issues. He sent policemen, they were killed. He sent some soldiers, they were killed. Then Victor Malu was the chief of army staff. Okay. Then there was this movement of soldiers that was supposed to be secret, right? That was supposed to be a secret to go into the community. Then they were ambushed. Then they came under heavy fire. All right? And in retaliation, depending on who you want to believe, depending on who you want to believe, I'm talking about the numbers now. The Nigerian military moved into Udi in retaliation. And it was sorrow, tears, and blood, as Fela would say. Some accounts say 900 civilians, predominantly Ijo, were killed. Some put it as high as 2,500. But if you want to believe the federal government, they said 43, including, I think, 3 or 2 soldiers were killed in that attack. But it just shows you the sheer number. You know, it just shows you what could happen when the military decides to retaliate the killings of its own. Same administration in 2001, it happened. This time in Benue State. You know, the Tiv and the Jukun have been having their running, still same thing. Still same thing. that you just wonder, why can't the local government resolve this? Why can't the state governors resolve this? Why can't the federal government resolve this? It just beats your imagination. But like I said, when they want to take land, when they want to dispossess a community of its land, when a state governor, I'm not going to mention example of state, but we know around the southeast, you know, when a state governor wants to, some people call it in pidgin, they call it kolobi. When a state governor wants to kolobi people's land, you know, for his private estate, they know how to do these things, right? So in 2001, federal troops once again, we are sent into a thief community in Benue State to keep the peace. You know, the Jukun and the thieves, they've had this strong running battle over dispute, and they have their own militias and all of that, right? And 19 of these soldiers were killed. 19 of these soldiers were killed. The federal government condemned it. Then Lieutenant General Theophilus Danjuma, retired, was Chief of Defense Staff. At the funeral of these soldiers, Obasanjo was there. Theophilus Danjuma was there. At the funeral of this, they were still there at the funeral when the army moved into that community. In fact, that operation was, it was codenamed Operation No Living Thing. That was what the military termed it, Operation No Living Thing.
Wow. And
they moved into, it was in sometime in October. I think the killings went on between October 20th and October 24th, 2001. They wiped, look, they wiped out that community in Zakibia.
Wow.
Right? Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because, look, on Nigerian soil, we are yet to, everyone should know what to activate when there is a communal dispute. Everybody should know. The only thing Nigerians should know is not only what to do when you are aggrieved, when there's an election and you are aggrieved. They tell you, if you are aggrieved, go to court. That shouldn't be the only thing our leaders tell us. We should know. So if you have a dispute, if Onitsha and Tre have a dispute over a piece of land, where should you go to? There is absence of governance in Nigeria, and people don't know who to return to. So if my farmland is encroached by people in a close-by community, and they claim it is theirs, who should I report to? What should I do? What number should I call? That is what governance is. Governance should not be, chapter 6, part 3, section 218 of the Nigerian Constitution, that gives Mr. President power, operational use of the military. Operational use of the military should not be two kinsmen having their fight, and then troops are deployed. Operational use of the military is not one Anthony Abo of one community you've not heard of.
Yes.
I've not heard of. Many people listening to me have not heard of. Are having their problem. One man, one citizen is alleged, because that is what they call it these days. Is alleged to have been held hostage, and then the federal troops move into that community. Because if they had not moved into that community, if this was something handled by elders, if this was something handled by commissioners, these soldiers will still be alive.
Yes.
Right? These soldiers will still be alive. So I'm really, I join well-meaning Nigerians, every well-meaning Nigerian out there who has condemned this attack. But I go a step beyond condemning this attack to say the government, look, at local government, at state, at federal level, we must have governance. Enough of the abuse of our troops. This is what I think about this very unfortunate killing.